Hey guys, I put together some of my favorite interview moments highlighting my top personal development tips. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you were 5 years old again and you were just daydreaming about what you wanted to be when you grew up, what would that be? And just find a way to make that happen, as crazy as that sounds. Even if it's Superman, find out, why did you want to be Superman, you know? Or if you want to be a mom, why did you want to be a mom? Do you like taking care of people? Like, what is it? So find out what gets you excited. Before, I used to hate the word selfish, and I used to be like, oh my God, no, I want to be this selfless Mother Teresa, like this person who gives back to everyone. And I was so like afraid of making myself a priority. But I feel like this year I'm like, no. You've got to make yourself a priority, especially if you want to be the best version of yourself for the people you love so much. And even for the world, like, you can't give back the most and the best way possible if you don't start with yourself first. So it's not about just like making the world revolve around you and having a big ego. No, of course not. But it's about making sure that you're doing the things that count more and making sure you're feeling satisfied. So this year is like a big year of self-reflection, satisfaction, and making sure that everything I do is actually purposeful, because I feel like, for me, I've always been a hardworking person, but I think I got caught up in just like the hamster wheel of life and like working so hard and making sure that, I think I got happy seeing myself work so hard, but it's like, no, work smart and make sure it's purposeful, and then your impact is so much bigger than working 18-hour days, you know? So I'm trying to be a little bit more strategic with myself, because then I'm better for everyone.
I mean, I think number one, just figure out like what it is you want to do and why. I think for myself personally, like, I never really thought so much into the why until after we got our investors and until we got this crazy valuation, until I really had to question, why am I continuing to work when I could really essentially pretty much retire? You know, that I was questioning myself, like, why am I doing this? Why are we here? And it became a moment where I really had to figure out my purpose. So I think that for everyone, I wish I started from the very beginning, like figuring out what is the purpose behind what we're doing, because I think then you're just a lot more conscious about everything that you create, every single person you touch, whether it's your employees, your customers, and whether it's just through social media and marketing. So I think to really figure out, why are you wanting to do what you want to do? Because I think that's the only thing that's going to keep you going, you know? And as you said, like, it's going to get super tough. You're going to want to give up, no matter, even if you're a superhuman, and even if you are just like the most positive person on the planet, you're going to consider giving up, because, you know, nothing is always easy. So figure out what you would do forever if you aren't going to be paid for it, and like why you would do that. And then I think that's where you find magic. And, you know, we would be doing beauty. We would, like Huda always says, she's like, I would pay someone to let me make makeup. So I'm like, you know, we know that it's coming 100% out of passion. So I think figure out what your passion is.
But I'd say the number one advice I have to myself in particular is pay attention to red flags and pay attention to your gut. Listen to yourself and tune in. I am a sensitive person, an emotional person, and I think for the longest time I would always like suppress my feelings, my emotions, and I think that's kind of dangerous. I think your gut is kind of, you know, it's almost like your navigation system in life, and like you need to like tune into it, and you have to feel your feelings. So I think it's really important that people pay attention, listen to themselves. When you feel that funny feeling in your stomach, it's a warning. And I always used to be like, oh, just ignore it, brush it under the rug. When people did things that threw me off, made me feel like something's concerning, I would be like, don't stress the small stuff, move on. But actually, sometimes you need to stress the small stuff because you don't want problems to grow over time. So now I'm paying attention to all red flags, and I'm like, okay, as soon as I feel that, like, you know, those siren bells I get, I'm like, address it immediately, solve it before you move on. Yeah, so sweat the small stuff.
I'd love to know if you have any go-to mantras or sayings. I know that you shared one, you know, in Arabic that I'm not going to try and repeat. Do you have any others?
Yeah, I have a whole note full of them.
What's your favorite?
In it to win it. I kind of repeat that every time I have a really stressful day. I'm just like, I repeat mantras to myself, and just in it to win it kind of pumps me up.
Yeah.
And every time I think of giving up, I'm like, no, you just got to keep going. And I think having a good list of mantras that you refer to and just those positive incantations is so important, because whether you're working in a company or whether you're an entrepreneur, there's going to be challenges all the time, and you need to be your own cheerleader. So have that cheat sheet ready. To be super honest, and again, like, we want people to know we're achieving this, but anyone can in any area, whether it's beauty, fashion, anything, food, whatever it is. Just put your mind to your passion and just keep going.
Where do they start?
It's hard because I think I've even struggled with this before, and I feel like to a certain extent I still feel this way because I love what I do, but I still feel many times there's things that are missing out of my life. So I think you should just spend a lot of time on your own, and that's something I've been doing for the past year. I'm like, I need to spend time with myself to figure out like what makes me tick, what keeps me excited, what would you do for free? Like what would you do if there was no payment? You know, I think that's how we should all live our lives, and figure that out, and then just try to spend the most amount of time doing that. And then before you know it, you're going to make a life out of it. Hopefully something that can cover your expenses and more, and that you can impact the world with. But I think that just figuring out what makes you tick and what excites you, like when you're exhausted and you have no sleep, what do you think about? Not people, obviously not the drama, because sometimes I feel like when we're tired we think about the drama, but like think about your dreams.
Keep growing that way, and even if it's slow, like Lewis was just saying, consistency is everything. You know, as long as you're consistent, you're probably going to keep growing, and just keep learning from your mistakes, but don't give up, because, you know, it's right before you're about to give up that I think, you know, the golden pot is right there. You just have to keep going. So
all right, so if anybody,
but I think in life, like when you're so passionate, you need to like remind yourself to be patient, because everything good takes time. Yeah, we have this Arabic saying, which means every delay has a blessing. And like, there's always going to be delays in your life, and like, you'll never understand why until you look back. And there were so many delays with Huda Beauty that, you know, we always got so frustrated and exhausted, but you know, everything had its purpose. Well, for us, it's typically just a matter of repeating our goals every single day and kind of speaking about them in the present tense. So we talk about all the things we want to achieve as if it's already happening. And we spend a good 20 minutes on this every single day. And I think that makes you feel a lot closer to your goals. And it's funny because we looked back at our journals from like a year ago, and it's like, I think 60 to 70% have happened, which kind of blew my mind. I was like, this is insane. Thank you so much. And we just try to spend more time speaking about our goals than speaking about our problems. And it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but unfortunately a lot of people do the opposite. They talk about their problems probably 90% of the time, and 10% of the time they talk about what they aspire to achieve. And I just think flipping that around just changes everything. I don't think you should not acknowledge your problems, because we all have them, but I think just focus on everything that you want the majority of the time, and you'll get more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such great advice.
Yeah. Greatest learnings I learned was like, you give what you get. So like if I give you happiness, I get it. You know what I mean? So like if I spread my smiles and like happiness and love to people, I get it back. And it's like one of the best ways to feel happy most of the time is to give people happiness all the time. So I'm not going to say that I don't have hard times or I smile all day like a psycho, no. But when I'm around people, I genuinely feel so much happier. It's sometimes when I'm alone that I'm like, ooh, now I have to think about things. And like now I have to like, you know, I actually vibe off of people's energy. So yeah, I think just appreciating each other and learning from each other and having no ego and communicating better. I think I personally used to struggle a lot with communication. If I was upset, I'd be kind of passive aggressive, and now I'm not. I'm like, now as soon as somebody makes me a little bit upset, I like make a note, so I make sure to go back to it later and I don't forget it or shove it under the rug and then explode on them later and like upset them. But I think you have to prevent yourself from becoming cold, and that's something that I strongly believe in. I'm like, no matter how many people hurt me in life, I'm not going to become cold because I'm a loving person. And I think that if you allow someone to make you cold and you're a loving person, and I think we all are deep down inside, you're hurting yourself.
Correct.
But I'm just not going to love to you. I'll just avoid you and I'll cut you out of my life. And I think that's fine. You know, it's fair to me, and it's maybe the other person is sad, but you've got to protect yourself and you've got to put boundaries and raise your standards, you know. I think we're really lucky to have Huda Beauty start in a time where there's social media, because I think previously it just wasn't possible to share the message that, you know, scars are beautiful, beauty marks are beautiful, asymmetry is beautiful, and just, you know, now is such a special time because I feel like with social media, everybody has a voice, and that's so amazing. And everybody feels like they're included, because in the past it was like these big, huge conglomerates decided on what the advertisements would look like, and everybody thought they had to look like that. And I think the conglomerates thought that people wanted that, but they don't realize nobody wants that. Nobody wants to feel like they have to look like a Barbie. You know, that's just, it just makes you feel so insecure in so many ways. So I think that now, because of social media, we all celebrate looking different, being different, And that's something so special, and I think that's something we're super lucky to be a part of now.
We didn't do any ads as well, so people trusted us, and we were always like consumer first, people first. You know,
Yeah.
we never wanted to lie to people about products. We never sold ourselves short, so we were always thinking like long term, like we want to build a relationship with everyone. We want to have a community, and that was super important to us because it was all about sharing information, having conversations, like real conversations about like all of our issues. Because, you know, as women, I think, and men, you know, we all have so many beauty issues and concerns, and there wasn't a place where people could just talk about it openly and honestly. So we wanted to keep it super authentic, and because of that, I think people were just so excited to try something that we were putting out there, and they trusted us already. Like we didn't have to go to them and say, try this, you know, it's really great. They already trusted that everything we told them in the past was real. And I think that helped a lot.
I do think for me, beauty is kindness, because I think a beautiful heart, a beautiful soul will always make people look beautiful. Like to me, I don't even see what's on the outside, if I'm honest. It's like when people are kind, that draws me to them and it makes me think they're so attractive. Yeah, entirely, yeah. Where cosmetics now are all about celebrating yourself and enhancing your own beauty. You don't have to be like anybody else. Just be the best version of yourself. Just be the best version of yourself. And even if that means some days you don't want to wear makeup at all, and you just want to be in your pajamas and go to the grocery store like that, do it. Do whatever makes you feel good, because confidence is more beautiful than anything. So we're trying hard to just celebrate that message with everybody right now. But it is a challenge. It still is a challenge. You know, you get a lot of people who say, oh, I don't look like that. And it's like, we try so hard to make sure people don't feel like they need to look like anybody else. But it's a challenge. And it's, I think, something that the beauty industry will always kind of struggle with, because people think it is all about how you look, but it really isn't. It's about how you feel.
For a long time, I pray also. I try to pray 5 times a day. But I think just prayer and thinking about all the things that you have to be grateful for, it attracts more amazing things into your life. And I know for myself personally, every time I do this, my life's always on track, and every time I stop, I just somehow everything just goes haywire. So I really do believe in the law of attraction, and of course I am a very spiritual person, so I believe in, you know, the more grateful you are, the more you're given in life. You know, and I always think about it myself. I'm like, even when people say thank you to something, doesn't it just make you want to give them more? So it just reminds me to always be grateful. Just do it. Don't think too much about it. I think one of the biggest things that we do as humans is we overthink things, and we just overanalyze, and we paralyze ourselves, and then we just never end up doing it.
Absolutely.
And years go by and we never end up doing it, but you just have to put everything aside and just get started. There's an Arabic saying that we have, and it's al-haraka fi baraka, and that means with movement there's a blessing. And it's because the more you try, the more that you're going to learn, the more that you're going to spread your energy that you want to attract this into the universe. So just keep going. You know, I think if you never, and this is something that I've lived very truly to from day one, is like never give up no matter what it is, whether it's about business or a passion you have, a hobby, a relationship, whatever like goal you have set for yourself. Don't give up, and you'll get there, or you die. And I've always said that. I'm like, I'll either get there or die trying.
You're like a lady boss. What should they do to get this, you know?
Follow your dreams and follow your heart, honestly. And I think that's what you do so well. I think just follow what feels right to you and follow your passion. Whatever you do that makes you feel like energetic, that's your calling.
That's it. That's it.